Hey everybody, the DUI guy's back. This time I want to be doing something a little bit different. I've already responded to some of your questions. I have a video I'm responding to a single YouTuber. I have some other videos where I respond to you all collectively, and then when I give the advice of just general questions that have come through in my career, in my life. Well, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I will be responding to questions that I guess most people may not even expect that one would respond to. I just want to show, and this is not in direct response to the people that have posted them. This is more in response to, how shall I say, just so, I think it'll just be fun. Honestly, I think it would just be a fun little interaction between me and my audience. So let's begin. This one comes from Sean Hawkins. He comments on the 5-minute nuclear bomb video, or the 5-minute nuclear win that I had in Hardin County in 2015. He writes, so he was guilty, but you got him off on a technicality, so he can do it again. Brilliant. Well, Sean, I ask you one thing. Where's your proof? I love comments like that have absolutely no basis in law or fact, when you simply say that an individual, you're basically convicting my client without any knowledge. So thank you for that, Sean. You've entertained us all. Next is on the video that I have of me getting a DUI dismissed of a military guy also in Hardin County. He writes, good job on getting all your people off on technicalities, very much like Sean did a second ago. I'm sure all your clients were absolutely not guilty of DUI. Plain and simple, folks, don't drink and drive. By the way, I agree with that sentiment. And congrats, Mr. Attorney. You have the blood of all DUI victims on your soul because you're an enabler and you sold your honor for the dollar. Yikes. Okay. I feel your pain, but that's not what I did. I am the gatekeeper of the Constitution. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. People pay me to make sure that their rights are enforced. Now, have I represented people that I certainly thought were guilty before? Of course. Have I represented people that I have absolutely thought were innocent? Of course. There is no one-way ticket in this game. And that's all it is. I always allude to it. Some people don't like it. I understand why, but it really is. At the end of the day, law is a very magnificent, glorified, and sometimes well-paid, if you do things right, game. By the way, a lot of people think like, oh, you're a lawyer, so that means you're automatically rich. Not even talking about public defenders, just generally talking about even the private bar. I personally know defense lawyers who have not survived in their own practice and had to have gone to do other things, such as join another firm. They switched to prosecution, and maybe they've gone and done civil work for another firm. It's not for everybody. If you're not good at it, you should move on. Don't try if you're sinking. I'm not trying to be mean here. If you're sinking, maybe it's time to either change the game plan, maybe brand, maybe specialize. In this day and age, in 2019, and I think maybe in the last 15 years or so, the lawyers who have thrived the most, like myself, and this is why I did what I did, I specialized, the lawyers who have thrived the most are lawyers who specialized. So if you're a general practitioner, general practitioners were thriving in the maybe 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, 1930s. That was pretty much the end of their era. Because if you were to specialize, let's say 1900, you would have 4 clients a year, because there was no cross communication between cities, counties, states, countries. Forget about it. You're basically the lawyer in the village, and then the case comes along, hey, I need help on and then you would do the case. So general practitioners were a normal it was for the normal way of life. But as cities grew bigger and bigger and bigger, this is just my own personal opinion, as cities grew bigger and bigger and we had cross communication between states, countries, and the whole world, specializations become essential, because now you have one person looking for a service and they have access to the entire universe, or well, the universe of the internet is what I meant, and they have access to the entire world of people to choose from. And now they can read reviews, and you can find out if the person is doing things right. You can find out everything about a restaurant, an attraction, a lawyer, a doctor, without leaving your chair and without actually speaking to another human being, which is phenomenal. So I think specialization is the future. Doctors already do it. How many general practitioner doctors do we have in 2019? I think 0? I don't know any. If you guys, by all means, drop it in the comments below. I doubt I will get any comments on that. Lawyers, tons of them. And what happens? Every time you get a new case, you have to research the law, you have to research cases, you have to read, you have to understand. You're wasting so much time and energy just to figure out that one issue for that one check, that one little paycheck. That's a lot of freaking work. Whereas for me, a lot of the work is already done. A lot of it has to be modified. Some of it has to be supplemented. Sometimes I get a brand new issue that I've known about before, but I've never had a chance to utilize. So I have to draft a brand new motion. I have to draft a brand new order. I have to maybe even do a little bit of research. Recently I had a motion where I was looking at the law in other states. I needed to do that, so I reached out, and guess what? I have a listserv of nothing but DUI lawyers. I actually have 2 of them. You can bet your ass that I reached out to every lawyer on that listserv, and rather than having to do the research myself and spend maybe hours upon hours upon hours, all I had to do was wait a few hours, check the listserv, and lo and behold, I had all the responses already basically canned from each lawyer, because their issue, nope, my state doesn't do that. Yep, my state does. My state does too. So does mine. Nope, mine doesn't do that. And I already had it, and I could put it into motion because I trusted their opinion. So specialization is the wave of the future. So LA, it's flat, or La, it's flat. Do I have the blood of all DUI victims on my soul? If that's your opinion, by all means, you can hold on to it. Bob Shit Dick Sam writes, if you're willing to get people off that you know are guilty of DUI, I hope you get rammed by a drunk driver. Again, echoing comments that I've read before. At the end of the day, look, you all understand this is just an exception, of course, comment. The Constitution of the United States of America, we all know, permits me to put the prosecution to their burden of proof. That's it. So if they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, also known as O.J. Simpson trial, anybody? Anybody? Or what's that girl from Florida? Casey Anthony.
Kaylee.
No, Kaylee was the baby. Casey was the mother. So when we think about people who we know are guilty but still get off, we have cases like O.J. Simpson. Hello? Anybody? Does anybody still think he was innocent? It took 9 months, guys and gals. 9 months. That jury was basically trapped for 270 plus days. I think they found him not guilty because there was so much thrown at them. It was literally impossible to prove beyond a reasonable doubt at that point. It's just that became a numbers game. And plus, it was a brilliant closing. Johnny Cochran, the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. I mean, just genius. Genius. He basically set the standard for everybody that we still use 30 years later. So I try to come up with themes like that. But again, have I represented people that are guilty? Of course. The Constitution permits me to do that. There's nothing unethical. What would be unethical is if I knew they're guilty and I would go to the prosecutor and say, by the way, my guy did it, or my girl did it, so let's figure something out here. That would be unethical. The Constitution permits me to put the prosecution to their burden of proof, to put on their proof, and prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they can't do that, then I win. If the jury agrees. I mean, there's always, we all heard of jury nullification, right? Jury nullification, what is it? It's when a jury does not agree with the law or the facts or the way the law is applied in that particular scenario, so they take an action not in accordance with the law. Despite the fact that the law says X, they say, we don't care, we're going to go with Y. Jury nullification works both ways, by the way. If you think you should be winning because a law is not applicable or blah, 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 or whatever, and the jury convicts when they should have acquitted, I guess that what would that be called? Reverse jury nullification? Yeah, it exists. I've not personally seen it in my cases. And hopefully I never will, because that means my client is guilty. But it does work. It does exist, and I'm sure I've found, since I've had quite a few jury trials by now, I found that juries really are, they're just very reasonable people at the end of the day. They care because they're not just there as passive observers. They participate as much as they can in the beginning during jury selection. They understand, and if they don't, I explain to them, and then they understand as to how important their job is. And it is impossible, as I already talked in one of my videos, it is impossible, pretty much, to convince a jury and kind of like, you know, put wool over their eyes and get your client off on that. It's never gonna happen, okay? Juries are gonna go with their gut if they can't figure it out any other way. And their gut will tell them, you know, what the answer is. And it might be guilty, it might be not guilty. Juries, but they do not, they bring a lot of emotion, that's why I say that. Juries do not think logically. There is no logic involved whatsoever in their deliberations. I am certain of it, especially after talking with a lot of them. So it's how you play the facts out. If you show in your trial, in my trial, that it is the way that the scenery played out, the way that the officer treated her, they watched the video of them being fine. I mean, to get a guilty after that, you really have to try and fail. So I don't believe in the fact that this is it's possible to just, you know, find a guilty person and then just start winning and winning and winning. It's not gonna happen, okay? So knowing that my clients are guilty, a lot of the guilty ones plea. They know that, I know it, I tell them, and they're happy with my representation. They're glad that I was there every step of the way. And finally, of course, the one I did not talk about, yes, there are the technicalities. I'm not hiding anything. Yes, there are technicalities. There are victories that I've had where the client is 100% maybe not, guilty, potentially, but I found something in the law that permits me to win. So what? So says the law, so say I, so says the judge. Sign here, off you go. Next one comes from the same video. I've noticed a pattern here. Maybe it's because that video is pretty popular. It's got almost 100,000 views. That's the 5-minute not guilty closing argument that I have in Hardin County, the 3-minute video. Ben Merrigan says, everything said and written implies to me that the person was indeed DUI, therefore should have been charged. He was charged. I think he means convicted. Whether the officer stuffed up shouldn't have bearing on what the person, on whether, the person was DUI. Well, unfortunately, that has everything to do on whether the person was DUI, because if the officer botched his job, maybe the person was sober, and because the officer screwed up, he came to the conclusion that the person is under the influence. Don't forget that. That's extremely, extremely important. I've never, out of maybe, let's call it about 150 officers that I've actually cross-examined, plus 1,500 or so more that I've just reviewed the citation for, I have yet to see, out of 1,650 personal examples, of one officer who has done above a 65% job, give or take, in real life. About 2/3 is the highest I've ever seen. So don't think that just because they've done the field sobriety tests, that means that their conclusion is correct. Because the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration has the field sobriety tests as standardized. If they're not performed in conformance with the standardization, and so far this is how many of them actually have from start to finish. Again, most of them come close. That's close enough. We don't live in a utopia, right? But it's nearly impossible to determine. That's why we look at all the factors, and that's why you can't come to a conclusion without actually knowing the facts. So based on everything that was said and written, that's not enough. You need more, Ben. But thanks for playing. This next comment comes from again from the 5-minute not guilty video out of Hardin County. It says, it's by Jay Douglas, and it says, folks, just don't have any alcohol anytime close to driving and obey traffic laws. I agree. It's simple and you won't have to spend money on lawyers or jeopardize your careers. Also agree. This guy obviously was drunk, there it is, but got off on a technicality because of sloppy police work. It would have been a technicality if this had been a hearing and I found something wrong with the officer's performance of the, or not abiding by the law or something like that. This was a jury trial, buddy. The jury heard the evidence. I'm actually posting pieces of that trial, so you're free to view it in its entirety eventually when all the pieces are uploaded. But yeah, there is no technicality. The jury came back. It took them 5 minutes to decide he's not guilty. 6 people that deliberated. So unless all of them were in cahoots with one another, yeah, not gonna happen. This one is about the 5-minute not guilty video as well. I think that's where pretty much most of them come from, because I've gotten so many already on comments on YouTube on that video, because it's got almost 100,000 views. But anyway, MCCC writes, military punks should not get special treatment for anything. Okay, let's see where he's going. There are exceptions, but not DUI. This jackass criminal will get his turn, piece of shit. Again, I understand your frustration, some of you. However, the problem is, again, you weren't there. You were not seated on my jury. How can you make that decision without any of the facts? That's just low and shows lack of intelligence. So thank you, everybody. I thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the end of part 1 of a 2-part series that I will be uploading. Like, comment, subscribe. Your comments below, by the way, are very important. They tell me what you guys want, what you guys need. What are you interested in? You know, tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see. If enough people like a certain comment, I'll know, hey, I should probably be focusing on this next. This is just mine as it is yours, so, or just as yours as it is mine, whatever the phrase is, you know. So feel free, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya. Hey guys, DUI guy's back. What?
2019.
What?
It's 2019.
What did I say?
You said guys.
Oh, I was like, wait. California's trying to ban that, by the way. Did you hear that?
Really?
They're trying to ban the words he and she, and they're trying to, that everyone has to, by law, there's a bill. This is not like vernacular. This is a bill to change the vernacular to be they.
The easiest one is everyone.
Everybody. That's what I did before.
Yeah.
Everybody. All right.
Add a little bit of emotion to it. It's like,
hey everybody! buddy! No, that's too much.
Bloopers!
The DUI guy is back. Ah.
But yeah, just be kind. Smile. Talk with smile. When
But I don't know how to smile. I do not been practiced in. Yeah. I like that it's recording this whole thing. You better send this to me. I think this is a fun
That'll be at the
interaction.
end of the video.
Oh Jesus Christ! So he was guilty, but you got him off on a technicality, so he can do it again. Excuse me. Let me try that again. Holy shit! Just choked on my own thing.